When I've come to a coastal prairie remnant like this, the fall is the best time. They're full of blooming warm season tall grasses, the Indian grass, the Florida paspalum, big blue stem, little blue stem. They're gorgeous. They're in motion because of the wind on the prairie, and they're teeming with wildlife. There's a passion that I have for these grasses that's pretty much unexplainable. I find them as pretty as anything that is in our area. Good morning, it's Flo Hannah at the Braes Bio Pocket Prairie, and this morning I want to show you some things about collecting seed, both grass seed and wildflower seed. It's very important that when you collect seed that you're collecting in an area near where you're going to propagate, near your growing spot. It's called provenance, and it means that you're not ordering seed from a distant place because it may not be suitable growing conditions, weather, soil. The first species I'm collecting today is Liatris acidota, and I make certain to have several dozen brown lunch sacks with me if I'm collecting small amounts, possibly a large 5-gallon bucket if I'm collecting larger amounts. The paper sacks are great, and I mark them ahead of time of the location. We're here at the Braes Bio Pocket Prairie, the date, and the species. As you're collecting, you'll notice you'll be collecting maybe 5 or 6 different wildflowers and grasses at the same morning. So I mark them as I go because I'll get confused later. It's very important to be prepared with your marked sacks. Here's the Liatris acidota. All seed that's ready will come off pretty quickly. With Liatris, it's almost easier to run your hand down as opposed to the normal movement of pulling up. Running it down will get it off the shaft a little quicker. This is Rudbeckia texana, one of our more beautiful coneflowers, native coneflowers. It was Rudbeckia nitida variety texana, but now it's known as Rudbeckia texana. And this looks ripe for picking. I can run my thumb over the seeds and you can see seeds just drop off into the sack rather easily. And when I finish running my hand over it, what's left is, you can see where it got its name, is a cone. So this is a coneflower. Often if I'm collecting a great amount of them, I'll bring my clippers and just clip off the heads, and later on I'll sit and remove the seed, which is really quite dry and easy to remove. The only thing I look for, if the seed does not come readily off when you run your thumb over it, it's not quite ripe. And the other thing is, if it's been sitting too long, it'll tend to get kind of a mildewed look to it, and I'll leave that behind. I don't want that to get into my collection of seed that I'm trying to store for restoration projects. This is Rattlesnake Master, a wonderful native wildflower or forb found in our coastal prairies. This summer we had such a drought and high heat temperatures. The Nash Prairie, which is normally extremely diverse, this was one of the dominant forbs or wildflowers that was surviving, and the insect life that was drawn to this wildflower was amazing. All the beetles and weevils and insects that are normal part of our coastal prairie were using this primarily this summer. This is an extremely prickly seed head. It's pretty barbed, so using gloves is very helpful when collecting this seed head, just to protect your hands. And once again, when you're getting the seeds later to separate out, it's good to have gloves. This is Indian grass, Sargastrum nutans, yellow Indian grass, and it's really one of our prettiest tall grass prairie grasses. This one's about 5.5 feet tall, if not a little bit more. And it's one of the reasons we have our tall grasses named tallgrass prairies. It's a sign of a very healthy prairie when you have Indian grass. It's one of the. This Indian grass is not quite ready to be picked. I think we could come back next week or the following week and it will be. The anthers are still dangling, which means the fertilization process is still occurring. The flower head, the inflorescence, is still pretty open and is still self-fertilizing. So we'll leave this for another day. The next grass we're going to collect is Trident strictus, long spike tridents. It also, like the liatris, you collect it by running your hand down as opposed to up. And with all grasses, you'll know it's ready if it comes off easily. Usually they're brown. Trident strictus has a little more green tinge to it because it has a green spine along the glooms. Collect some more. I just hold the top and run my hand backwards and put it in the bag. Always make sure to leave plenty of seed behind. You don't want to collect everything in the area. Leave plenty for it to spread by natural ways. They're all windborne seeds. So when I finish collecting my Trident strictus, just because I have a whole tray of different grasses, I'll give it a little fold over to make sure I'm not just spilling it along the way. This is Gulf Muley. Muhlenbergia capillaris. This plant, and there's a whole row of them here on the front line of this pocket prairie, is from seed I collected on a site down on the Galveston-Harris County line that there was a roadway being built. So I collected this seed and grew it out, and we're using it as a decorative border. Gulf Muley, you'll know when it's ready to be collected if you just grab one of the inflorescence stems and run your hand up it. You'll get a purple hairball. They're ready when they come off easily, and you're getting a lot of awns that are the part of the plant, part of the seed that sticks out. It's what likes to catch on to fur and clothing and blows in the wind. They also, many of these awns will help the plant germinate by screwing into the ground. Gulf Muley is one of two grasses that are purple and feathery this time of year. The other one is purple lovegrass, an Eragrostis. And you can tell the difference between the two. And the Gulf Muley only has one seed head, fine hair of awn coming out of it. And Eragrostis is a coarser grass. You can feel the difference. This is just soft as a feather. And the lovegrass will be a more coarse grass. It'll look just like it, but the seed has many seed head spikelets on it, and Gulf Muley has only one. Just the soft featheriness of it, you can tell when you've reached down and grabbed, you can tell the difference out in the field. It's early November right now, and it's a really good time to collect what we know as warm season grasses. Those would include little blue stem Indian grass, big blue stem, Trident strictus, which is long spiked tridents. What we know as our tallgrass prairie grasses are normally in bloom, flowering in the fall and ready to collect in October and November. Other grasses that you can collect during the summer would be some of the paspalums. Brown seed paspalum, long tom is another paspalum. Some grasses like switchgrass will even be ready earlier in the summer. One of the early fall grasses to collect is Florida paspalum. So some grasses known as cool season grasses actually start their growth in the colder months of the year. Some of those would be like ryegrass, wild ryegrass, Virginia, Elymus virginicus. So all year long there are some grasses that you can collect, but our primary big four and our dominant grasses for our coastal prairie are ready in October and November. Things that I am not showing you, you may be able to find from this really great resource that I sent off for. It's called the Native Plant Propagation Guide by Jan Midgley. And if you are interested in contacting her for a copy, I sent her $20, and it's a copyrighted guide to propagating with dates that are appropriate and soil temperatures. You contact her at area code 205-669-4097, or you can email her, which is what I did, and receive the propagation guide within a week. WILDFLOWER, but Wildflower is spelled WILDFLWR at AOL.com.